Good afternoon and welcome to the Milford Select Board meeting, May 19, 2026, and we're starting at 4 o'clock. There is no signing of the warrant and there is no public hearings right now. The only scheduled appointment we have right now is Sky Neutral regarding 57 Industrial Road. And good afternoon. The Select Board wants to welcome you to our meeting. You're here to present a proposed relocation and expansion project at 57 Industrial Road, which is presently vacant right now. We also are interested in opportunities that you would bring responsible investment, job creation, and also long-term stability to Milford. And we appreciate the opportunity to understand what your company does, and you're all set. You're on.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. I am Lynn Tokarczyk, Government Tax Incentives Consultant, and it's so nice to be back here again. Over the years, we've worked on so many projects, tax increment financing projects for many companies. The most recent one was Rentschler Biopharma in Milford, and so thank you again for all your support of that project. It's nice when these projects turn into a reality.
Sure does, yeah.
But I am here today with Nate Spock, who is the president and CEO, and Paul Barstow, the COO. And the company has proposed expansion plans that they'd like to share with you, but we're very grateful for the invitation today. We've met recently with Rick Galani and Brian Walsh, and we're very grateful for their support also and their interest to attract the company. The company is in the process, they're trying to make some corporate real estate decisions, and so we'd like to share with you the background and history and what the company has, what their plans are here in the town of Milford.
You're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Lynn, and thank you, Select Board, for making the time for us. We really, really appreciate it. And also special thanks to Rick and Brian, who met with us earlier and recommended we set up this meeting with you folks. Really appreciate your time. As Lynn mentioned, my name is Nate. I'm the president and CEO of Sky Neutro, and with me is our co-founder and COO, Paul Barstow. Sky Neutro is a gummy, candy, and fruit snack, and I want to make that incredibly clear. Candy, right? That is what we do, and currently we're headquartered in Southbridge, Massachusetts. We founded our company in 2021, with a specific mission, and the specific mission was that we weren't just out there to create sugar-filled products with petroleum-based colors. You've probably seen a lot of, work that the FDA is doing to remove artificial colors and things like that, from products. And, it's near and dear to our heart that, why we got started was to create something better that we felt like our kids could enjoy and that we'd feel proud, to see in the grocery store and have folks be eating, right? Sure. So we specialize in reduced sugar formats where appropriate. If you've ever seen Smart Sweets or any of those types of products in the market, that's kind of our bread and butter and how we got started. We have a whole host of well-known brands that are incumbents to us, and it's forced us to start to look for more real estate to support additional projects, right? And that's kind of pushed us across the state, looking at a lot of different real estate, and we've landed on Milford, 59 Industrial Road to be specific, as our preferred location. Go ahead.
Right, yes. And so these are some of the customers that they currently have, but if you could also maybe talk about the growth of the candy industry.
Yeah, and then I'll kick it over to Paul. So believe it or not, candy is specifically gummy candy and better for you gummy candy is the fastest growing area in food. So it's growing at a 15% year-over-year rate, which, I don't know that everyone would know, but it's allowed us to be kind of innovators in the industry. And I'll talk in a second about some of the exciting projects that we're working on, but I'll pass it to Paul.
So Paul Barstow, again, thank you for having us here.
About 4 or 5 years ago, when Nate and I were, in our little think tank, moving this company forward, what really kept to my mind a lot was, I'm a father, I have 3 kids, all are involved in athletic and sports. I've been a youth coach pretty much my whole life, as a lot of the members of my family have been. And my kids would run home hungry after practice and eat a bunch of Oreos. Skittles, my daughter loves Skittles. So, in working with Nate, we discovered we can make a healthier snack, like a better for you is what it's called. So essentially almost eliminating sugar. We tried it, we used sweeteners like monk fruit, and these things really were taking off. So, it was around that time we decided this is really what we want to do. For me personally, it meant like a feel-good thing. My wife's in the veterinary industry, and she'd come home saving puppies and kittens, and I, like you, Mike, was in the auto industry for a while, and I'm like, yeah, I love doing it, but like, how can I give back a little bit?
Yeah.
And when I'm at practice and, they're handing out oranges, I want to hand out candy to the kids too at halftime. And I love handing out our product because I know it is better for them. It is healthy. There is no artificial things. So Nate and I really got together, took a risk, and went full steam into this thing. And it started really growing, and we're attracting these brands, which I'm sure you'll tell me a little bit more about.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go through all of the details of our brands because a lot of this is very confidential and they don't really like us talking about it. But to give you guys one example of the type of projects that we're working on right now, I'll hone in on General Mills. So General Mills found Sky Nutro, and what they're trying to do is produce a high-inclusion protein fruit snack for children that's also, all natural flavors and colors and generally lower in sugar. So that's like a really exciting project that we have teed up for, our next location. But that's just, one example of the types of products that we are producing. They usually either have a healthy component or a nutrition component associated with it. It's not like standard candy the way that you would normally think about it. So.
Next slide, please.
So currently, we occupy 22,000 square feet in Southbridge. I will tell you that while it's a nice building, it's not really well set up for what we're manufacturing. We really need like a 1-floor building, that supports, high ceilings and all the things we need with that. We've done an extensive search through Massachusetts. We've looked in Leicester and Worcester, all over the place, including Dayville down in Connecticut. And we've honed in on, Milford for multiple reasons. But, one of the main reasons being the 5-7 Industrial Road, is almost overbuilt for our needs, which really reduces the capital expenditure that Sky Nutro needs to put up front. Now, it's still a very large amount of money that we'll be investing into the town of Milford and into the building, but it does make, the next step of our journey much, much simpler and much, much easier, right? The previous company was a cannabis company. And one of the beautiful things about Sky Nutro is we've never had an odor complaint. So I actually joke
That's just my wife, yeah.
Yeah. The only one we've ever got a complaint from is Paul's wife. So Paul actually changes, he has a locker down in the basement basically, and before he goes home, he changes his clothes because his wife complained that he smelled too much like candy when he got home. So only nice and fruit smells and candy smells for coming out of, our factory, so.
Yeah.
So next slide, please. So our proposed investment, we're looking at leasing 93,000 square feet. This will be not only our headquarters, but also our manufacturing operation will be the main component going on at 5-7 Industrial Road. It's a large investment for us. So about $4 million of the $12 million total will be used for construction costs and build out of, what we need to, run our company basically. And then we're also going to be investing about $8 million in additional automation, machinery, and personal property, as part of this expansion.
Next slide, please.
So this is the location. Next time I'll try and get a less digitized photo of it, but it is a beautiful building. And the reason we kind of honed in on the top of it is you can kind of see that there's a lot of infrastructure already in place. So there's 32 different HVAC units already on the roof. We're estimating somewhere between $10 to $20 million was already put into the building, of specific, industrial things that we can use. So the HVAC system is very important. So I kind of talk about, although we're in the candy business, we're kind of in like the water mitigation business, right? Because in order to get gummy candy down to like the chew that you expect, right, where it's not, you don't bite right through it or it's not a rock, you have to remove water, right? So humidity control, temperature control are incredibly important for, the industry that we're in. They just so happen to also be important to cannabis, which is also sort of a water mitigation type company, right? So this is, what we consider a beautiful building that has a lot of the infrastructure in place. Some of the things you guys can't see is they even have what I could consider like a compliance stream, right? They have giant water tanks outside. They have generators in case the power goes out, right? And if you think about it, our plans is to be producing upwards of 2 to 3 million gummies per hour. So if all of a sudden the power goes out and we're not able to finish that batch, we can have a really massive loss, right? So this building is, really nicely teed up for, what we're looking to do in our next steps.
And from a compliance point of view, we hold a couple of certificates. We're GMP, I don't know if you've heard of that acronym, and also Safe Quality Foods, SQI. We've worked really hard to get to that level. Basically what that means is under the federal, which is GMP, but also Safe Quality Foods is what we're putting out is quality foods, that's safe. We check every bag. Every bag actually runs through an X-ray machine, just in case nothing slips in there.
Slips in there, yep.
Metal, anything that could be harmful to the children. This building is actually halfway set up for that, which is exciting for me because I do a lot of the
Yeah.
compliance work.
That helps.
Very much. That's okay.
I think we're going into a commercial.
So obviously, a big part of this is creating new jobs, right? So currently, we have 25 full-time jobs. We will be providing incentives to our employees to either move to Milford, lease in Milford, right? And ultimately join us on, our next steps in Milford. We are not planning on retaining the facility in Southbridge, at least beyond the end of this year. With that, we're going to be creating 120 new jobs over a 3-year period. These are high-quality jobs, so we're estimating an average salary of somewhere between $75,000 and $90,000. What we need is a lot of skilled labor, but, definitely on the high end of the pay rate from a manufacturing and labor rate. We need a lot of engineers. We're going to have a lot of machinery that, we need to maintain and make sure is working, to the best of its ability. Quality control is obviously a really, really key, especially as we continue to grow. We just got the certifications Paul mentioned. They allow us to sell into Walmart, Target, Costco, Whole Foods, the biggest retailers, in the United States. Additionally, we need to add a lot of C-level folks. So right now, Paul and I are kind of the only, Paul's the COO, I'm the CEO, but we really need like a chief financial officer. We need a head of HR, right? So there's a lot of high-paying roles that we'll be adding as well. And we're planning on actually starting the hiring process, as long as everything goes well, starting in July of this year. So this is not really that far out. We really need to have folks potentially lined up for, a September 1st or an October 1st, commencement of our lease at 59 Industrial Road.
Next slide. So one thing I wanted to mention about this slide is it's all about the local economy. When the company as they conduct a site search, a couple things. They heard that Milford was extremely pro-business. Obviously, with some of the articles that had come out over the years about all of the businesses that have stayed in Milford, that have expanded to Milford. So they wanted to be in a community where they would be welcomed. And having said that, so they realized that Milford is extremely pro-business. And as well as many amenities here in Milford, all the growth that's happening, whether it's the hotels, whether it's the shopping and the dining. It's actually a place, I live in very close proximity, so I actually enjoy all of the benefits and amenities here in Milford. And so, again, it's, the hotels, and we know that Milford has adopted a hotel and meals tax, over the years. So the company will be bringing in visitors.
Oh, yeah.
They all fly in, yeah. Our visitors come from all over.
Yes, internationally
Yeah,
as
our
well.
customers are spread all over America and internationally.
We have a lot of folks in Canada, Japan even, all over the world, they come and visit us. So, we'll be needing to book hotels for them. I think one thing we forgot to list too was housing, right? So I will be looking for either a new apartment or a new house. I'm sure a lot of our employees also will be, right? So, there'll be a lot of different things that, we'll be spending money in the town of Milford on, right? Some of the other things are, corporate services, professional services, industrial services. Obviously, candy is very sticky, so keeping the place, clean and all that is sometimes a little overkill for our own staff. So we tend to have like night crews that kind of come in and help make sure we're ready for the next day, right? So definitely, we'll be spending a lot of money in the local community. Do you want to start?
Yeah, we obviously, in Southbridge, we have a history of being involved with the Commonwealth Corporation, if you guys are familiar with that. So it's hiring the youth out of the local town. Generally, this is troubled youth that has otherwise issues in getting employment somewhere else, possibly because of a juvenile record. Part of my experience, so long story short, I was at a job fair and I met with this company, the Commonwealth Corporation. And we were talking, and they were like, wow, you could be a great mentor to these kids. I was like, well, I already spent a lot of time coaching and doing all these other activities, but why not? So we did a couple of interviews and hired a bunch of kids. And it really was great. It was rewarding to me. We want to continue this program, here in Milford, where we essentially bring these kids in and see how they do. We train them. We teach them these machines. Nate and I mentor them, and upon successful completion of about 6 months of work, then we can hire them full-time. So it's a great, second chance.
Yeah,
for a lot
they all
of these
need that little bit of encouragement probably, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, that keeps them going.
Yeah, and we believe we actually have the environment for it.
Sure.
Our environment's a little bit different, but we have plenty of managers to watch over these kids. And we think they like doing it. It's a little bit of
It's
physical
so
work.
far so good, right? That,
Yeah, it has worked, yeah. A little bit of work for us to do, after hours, but we don't mind doing it.
Very
Talk
good.
about the Heron project too?
Yeah, the company's also involved on the Chris Herron project. Chris Herron, if you're familiar with him, he's a Boston Celtics player. Had some rough times. I think he started that about 15 years ago. I got involved just through some personal stuff, some family members that I had 10 years ago now. This year's our 10th anniversary. We help sponsor a golf event down in New Rochelle, New York. Bring in a lot of local folks, and we raise money for the Chris Herron project. The company Sky Neutral is always down there, sponsoring holes, sponsoring casino gambling night, and handing out product, which we think is great too.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know how familiar you guys are with it, but it's a lot of struggling families. I always bring down lots of product and give everything away. This year we're going to see Chris because it's our 10th year. He comes every once in a while.
Very good.
He's a great speaker.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been here.
Yeah, right.
At the high school.
Yeah.
And he does have ties to a local organization that deals with addictions and things of that kind, community impact. And
Yeah.
then there's Chris's Corner, where they take cases, people right off the street or
Yeah, they're
from the
amazing.
court as well. you
Yeah,
know.
and that's where some of our donated money goes to. It's
The drug
basically-
court. But Chris has been here. And
That's great. Yeah, he's a good speaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good memory, too. If you bump into him, you're at a Celtics game, they'll remember you and know your name. It's pretty good.
Yeah, very impactful. I saw him on social media just the other night.
Great.
Just came up, and haven't dealt with him when I was the police chief here
Oh, great.
in Milford.
Yep.
Yeah, he's really impressive. So
Yeah, he's
we'd love to
really-
stay involved with that.
Yeah.
My family has their own addiction issues and things like that. So it's something, near and dear to both our hearts that we'd like to continue on. Obviously, there's a lot of great schools around here, high schools, technical schools, colleges in the Worcester area and beyond.
Yeah.
So we'd love to continue, offering internships and other programs and ways to, work with all the different schools that we can. Hiring 120 jobs over 3 years is a lot of work, right? And it requires a lot of knowledge about Sky Neutro. So, we'll be very involved in a lot of the job fairs, even potentially hosting our own job fairs in Milford, to make sure we get the word out, about Sky Neutro and, all the roles that we're looking to hire. Beyond that, Something near and dear to my heart as well is the Future Leaders Program. So I actually worked for Hanover Insurance for 10 years in Worcester, and I was part of 2 different Future Leader programs. And I really believe that the additional training that I got out of that, where we went and attended George Washington University, BU, right? Lots of different management type programs and special programs, management training. And, I really think it was a very critical part of my journey to being able to start my own company, to being in the role that I'm in today. So it's something that we'd like to, continue on as we move to Milford as well.
Yes, so overall, the company, should they make their corporate real estate decision to locate here in Milford, they're hoping to establish a very strong partnership and relationship with the town.
Very good.
And so, having said, so thank you for letting us share the story, the background and history. And so the company is in the process of applying for a state tax credit. And one of the requirements is a support letter from the municipality. And so we respectfully request, if you are so inclined, to support the company by providing a letter of support, from the town, if you are so inclined. And there is a deadline, the end of May, and it will be presented to the state in June for their final approval. So that is our respectful request. And you're probably also thinking, most of the other times that I've been here, it was to talk about a TIF or something like that, but in this particular case, it's not eligible because it's, the tax revenue coming into the town most likely won't change. It'll be like revenue neutral on that side. So the company, again, is pursuing state tax credit.
Rick, do you or Brian have a way you want the motion submitted?
Not particularly, if the board's so inclined, if you have any
Yeah.
questions, but if not, then the motion would be to provide a letter of support to representatives of Sky Neutral.
Yeah.
We'll do the motion.
Yeah, let's do the questions first.
Okay, go ahead.
Then we'll do the motion. Anybody have any questions?
I do not.
Individuals, Michael?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated because when I first met with Rick, and you touched on it a little bit about the ventilation system, and then every company that I now tour in Milford talks about water mitigation. And I'm just amazed at the systems that Rensselaer being the latest, when you walk through the building, how important water mitigation is. But again, I go back to the ventilation systems because I'm around that building a lot, and I see those units on the roof, and I'm like, wow, how is that, again, and I know you're going to repeat yourself, how is that so important to the manufacturing of candy?
Well, I'll try and keep it brief because I could talk about it for a few hours accidentally. But, in candy making, you're mixing a lot of ingredients and you're adding a lot of water to homogenize everything, right? And once those are deposited into specific shapes, after that, you're actually working to remove all of that water continuously, right? So not only, one of the least known parts of candy is there's a drying process. So as gummies come out, they're quite sticky, right? And they might not even be in their final shape yet. And it's basically low humidity and high temperatures that help pull that water out, right? So, one day I'll come back, Mike, and I'll give you a gummy that's right off the line and then one that's been in a drying room for a few days, right? And you'll notice a huge difference on like the chew level and how it has that normal chew that you're expecting to, with candy. Secondly, it's very important for packaging. We actually steam the gummies to adhere sugar or sour coating with them. So there's kind of always a lot of moisture in the air, and our job is to kind of get it out of there so that, the products look really good when you open them, at the supermarket or wherever it might be.
And when you first open up, you'll be operating on one shift?
We will be operating on one shift to start.
Okay.
3 machine, we're expecting, I think, 30 jobs in the first year, and then 45 the following year, and 45 in 2028. It could happen faster than that, but that's what we can promise. So, first shift, one shift to start. We're hoping right around, March through July of 27 that we're up to 2 shifts. That's when it starts to be more of a 20-hour operation as opposed to a 10-hour operation.
Okay.
So.
And one item I wanted to mention also is that the timing. should the company make a decision to move forward with this, the program is very accelerated to occupy the building. And when would you say that would be approximately?
Somewhere between September through November. We're planning on September, but I always know things can take a lot longer than we ever expect. One of the exciting things about the facility is instead of it being a full build-out, it's more like a tear-down, right? So a lot of what we're doing is we're keeping all of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing in place, but it's mostly like removing demising walls and opening up all these flower rooms that were there before and making it more of an open space for manufacturing. So, you know, the process to get this building up and ready for us is not, you know, a 6 to 12 month thing. It's a 2 to 3 month, so.
And this is going to be, in the end, your only facility right now.
Correct. Yep.
In their corporate headquarters, so corporate headquarters and manufacturing.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
The only question that I have too is the regulatory agencies that you deal with. FDA probably, right?
Yep.
How about the local Board of Health and whatnot? Like in Southbridge, you deal with them?
Just for inspections, but primarily it's the state of Massachusetts, so we have a food license with the state of Massachusetts, and they do come in, I believe it's someone locally comes in for periodic inspections.
Sure, okay. Just checking with that. And with the job opportunities that you're offering, which is pretty outstanding, because I know a few companies have done this in the past where they would give, providing they're qualified, Milford residents a priority.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Qualified, right, that would be.
Oh, yeah,
qualified
exactly.
residents.
Yeah, the closer the better.
That's the whole, exactly. So just to give a summary before we come to a vote on what we need to do, I wrote a lot of things down before too, because I went over your records. Sky Nutria is to relocate in Milford. The project represents approximately $12 million in private investment. They're going to retain 20 existing employees from Southbridge, with the creation of up to 120 new jobs over an extended 3 years. They also need a support from us for the application for state economic development incentives, and that is for, I think, May 27th, 2026 would be the deadline on that. And again, gentlemen, this is no local tax breaks are being requested. There is also a straightforward opportunity, and it's to strengthen our commercial base, and it brings new year-round jobs for Milford, and we really appreciate this opportunity that you're giving us to host you.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Maybe a motion to,
Do you have a format of what the state's asking you for in that letter? Is there particular information?
You mean as far as a letter of support?
Yes.
We do, yes, and I can work
So you
with,
can work with Rick Valani?
yes, I can work with Rick on that letter, yes,
okay?
yes.
Because I don't want to just produce a letter that says you're great people.
Yeah,
No.
We appreciate you asking, yeah.
No, I'm saying, and then they look at it and say, yeah, all right,
Yeah.
we already knew
Ben
that.
and I have talked as to specifics that may be needed, and Brian's done a lot of these, so
And
I'm
we've
sure.
worked.
Yeah, I just want to make sure
Oh, yes,
we're answering the question that's being asked, rather than
yes,
proposing an answer to a question.
yes. We will coordinate that with.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we authorize the submission of a letter to the state of Massachusetts in support of this company coming to the town of Milford.
Anything else you need to add as far as that goes? That's
No,
good
unless you have
enough?
more questions, no?
I second that.
and I make that unanimous.
Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you.
so
Thank you,
much.
guys.
And
We're
hopefully,
excited.
this is a welcome. Right?
We think so, yeah.
Well, thanks for the presentation, as well as the
Very
information you
good.
gave
Your
us before.
leadership. Read a great book by Lee Iacocca, Where Have All the Leaders Gone?
Where have all the leaders gone? All right, it's in there.
Great book.
All right, well, thank you, guys. Really appreciate your time today, right? Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're excited. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for coming back again. Good to see you again, sir.
Thank you so much.
Chris, of the meeting.
Wonderful to see you. Thank you for your support.
Absolutely.
Oh, hello.
Snuck in. Yeah.
Thank you for your support. Yes.
Yeah, so send on whatever draft you have.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
To Rick.
yes.
I'm going to wait tomorrow, so if he gets me any time by tomorrow, then I'll contact the senator.
Okay.
Because you talked
Might
about
get a job as an official taster.
I've
Yeah,
That's it.
They couldn't bring it. But one day we will soon. Thank you guys.
See, I'll take a tour. I'll go in at 170 and come out at 215.
And so one point.
Right.
Let's go. Oh, you're going to go? Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so just send us up, like Tom said, the basic
Okay.
info,
I will.
template, whatever
Yes.
you think,
Administrative.
is important.
Next on the agenda would be Town Administrator's Report.
No report tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Old business, any old business?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Michael?
No, sir.
I don't either. In the new business, we do have a opening or a request to fill a job at the part-time attendant at the transfer facility, and that would be Jonathan Johnson, and I believe he was interviewed by you, Ricky, and
I actually
Kate.
didn't do the interview. Kristen and I believe Scott did the
Oh,
interviewing
okay, that's
process.
okay.
But yeah.
And there was no problem with that. I'll entertain a motion to appoint Jonathan Johnson for the position of a part-time transfer station attendant.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we authorize the part-time attendant at the transfer station.
And that's at $20.51 an hour.
Right.
Yes.
Effective May 20th.
May 20,
I'll
2026.
second that.
And I make that unanimous. Thank you. Next on the agenda is an appointment of a part-time senior center program coordinator. And the request is from Ricky. And it's for, Ricky, and he's recommending Miss Carrie Constantino Valorio for the position.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a recommendation that we support the part-time coordinator at the senior center as a grade 3, step 2 under Article 2 with a starting salary of $29.44.
Okay.
Effective May 20th as well. And I second that.
20th as well, that's right. Thank you for that, and I make that unanimous as well. And there is no invitation to speak. Anything, Andrew, on the...
No, we have permit to obstruct there.
The
One more.
veterans agent permit to obstruct.
Oh, sorry about that, yes, okay, yes, the Veterans Agent also is requesting a permit to obstruct, and that would be for the Veterans Department, and to conduct the annual Memorial Day Parade, and it'll be Monday, May 25th, 2026, and the step-off will be at 9:30 a.m. and can continue from 10 o'clock, march up to Calzone Park for a brief ceremony, and continue up Main Street to Draper War Memorial for a speaking ceremony.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve the obstruction of public way for the Memorial Day Parade to be held on May 25th, which is going to start at 9:30 in the morning from Veterans Memorial Way. Traditionally goes until noontime at Draper Park.
Very good.
I second that, Mr.
And I make
Chairman.
that unanimous, thank you. As of correspondence, I have one, in fact, Ricky sent it to me. It was regarding a thoughtful letter from a lady on Diller Street about beavers actually frequently crossing Diller Street near the small bridge by 68 Diller. And she's seen several struck by cars and was asking the town if he would consider a beaver crossing sign to help protect wildlife and improve safety. If that would be okay, we could then forward this to Highway Department and Police for their review.
Sure.
I'm fine with that. Do we need a motion on that, Rick?
If you want to get police input first, if you don't, that's up to you guys. And highway, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's
If you
great.
could do that, Rick.
Yeah, why don't we get the information first and whatnot, so I can keep this resident informed that we're taking her request seriously. There is no executive session,
No.
therefore I'd entertain a motion to adjourn,
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I would second that, Mr.
and I
Chairman.
make that unanimous. And for those viewers who are watching Milford TV, good day, and enjoy the rest of the night.